All right, the DXY update here. Some trouble brewing for risk assets, Bitcoin stock market, because said DXY is on just a rip. There's no hard to argue that, right? Then the tweezer bottom at the 200 week showed us that when it happened, right? That's why I made the DXY back from the dead video. This is serious. So now we are close. We've taken this out. That's crack one in our downtrend. That step two was just a higher low, and that would be relatively easy to do at this point, right? If it comes back here, we're above all moving averages on the weekly. We bounced here. This is a reversal pattern for sure. So bullish DXY at this point. We just took out this high. What do we have that could possibly save us? Well, we have I don't want to say it's like a Schwarzenegger safety net, but it's relatively big, right? You can see this, how many touch points we have here. Going back to June of 2022, right? You see those two wicks, and then we kind of broke through that, came back that same zone, and then continued our final, space flight mode right there, right? Then we came down, broke through it with a big candle, rejection here, right? And then we made lower lows, and now we're approaching it again. So this is really all we have to go off of, right? This is our last, I would say our last kind of sign of hope before zooming out to a bigger picture, right? The monthly, we touched on this a little bit, I think last week, but this is where we are for now. Right? It's going to, Bitcoin and the stock market is going to struggle as long as this is going on. Now, how many weeks green can you get, right? This is already beyond impressive, right? We're going to have a red week at some point, right? Even in the most bullish trends, right? There's 6 right there. 6 is about it, right? We're on kind of record-setting pace here. Now, we haven't closed the week, right? We have a couple more days here. Maybe we end up printing a kind of a shooting star or something like this guy. That would be great, especially going into this resistance zone. But, if this continues to look as good as it does, and it does, then we got to go to the monthly and kind of assume, this is kind of a zone here, even on the monthly, right? You see that? But also, what we talked about last week is that maybe this was, the move, right? But the weekly wasn't a bounce yet, and this was just kind of the downtrend, and we kind of bounced here, and now, going into maybe the end of this year or something, we're going to put in kind of the lower high on the monthly, and then kind of work our way. Something like this, right? Whoops, there we go. So maybe something like this, right, is the bigger picture, right? And it's starting to lean this way because we just put in that higher high on the weekly, right? So something like that is what we would be the odds-on favorite, right? Certainly if Bitcoin's going to peak out here, we're thinking that, somewhere the low, maybe even at the 200 here, right? We got to keep our eye on that when that happens in, 2025-ish area, right? So something like that, mid 90s, right? Something like this, loosely fit, right? That would be kind of where we need to be paying attention to. But a loose fit model, something like this, right? Maybe, and this could take a little bit longer. It could be shorter, right? We could be looking something like that, where we start to fit this, right? Wherever the top is going to be. I don't know that this is the top, or we're going to go a little bit higher, but something loosely fit to that. Right, on the monthly scale would make sense, right? Obviously, it's not going to go straight down for 2 straight years. That'd be great, but, ebbs and flows. But if you're going from peak to bottom again, right, something along those lines, that's what I'd be looking for the bigger picture. Let's see what that looks like on the weekly chart here, right? So that doesn't seem too crazy, right? Something like that, especially with, the weekly chart, right? We're not looking at like the 4-hour to the daily. This is pretty serious that it's doing this on the weekly chart. So would absolutely put a pause or on the bigger bulls for Bitcoin and also the stock market likely. So this is what we're kind of feeling out based on the breakout and the strong momentum that the DXY definitely has at this point. So we're hoping for a weak close on this week. Otherwise, this starts to become where's the low going to be? Hopefully it's a higher low, right? Or a lower low, and not a start of a new run. Not likely, right? I don't see that happening just yet. I don't, if that were to happen, right? If this was, going to get tested again, right? Bitcoin's certainly not going to go on a rip anywhere before 2025, I would think, right? We'd be looking at, a year, if we did something like this, even like this, right? It's going to take some time, right? So that's, we can make maybe another video on that as this develops, but it's strong right now, but record setting 7 green weeks in a row. Not likely to continue without taking a breather at least. So we'll see where that ends up doing at the close, right? We'd like to kind of rhyme with something like this, right? Looking at that, the only thing that's really going to do it is some kind of bad news for the U.S. dollar. So let's go look at that just real quick. Do we have anything that could save us? Let's go look at tomorrow. Unemployment, right? That might help, right? If that's drastically off. Nothing else for Thursday. How about Friday? Do we got anything there? No. So we better hope employment tomorrow is wacky, or something unexpected gets announced. Yeah, we'll have to see. But maybe if the crude oil inventories are way off. I mean, look at this difference. Even though it's a yellow event, right? Something that crazy off could send markets crazy. But this is actually be positive, right? You want less storage, but we'll see how that goes. That's the DXY update, but it's definitely worth noting that is about as good as an uptrend start as you could hope for, right? Just 7 green weeks melting back through all the moving averages, trending and holding above the weekly EMA 8. So certainly cautious here, but we have that zone, right? Let's keep this in mind, that this is a 14 month zone. Let's hope that that holds. If we're breaking above 106, we're definitely showing some strength, and that could still come maybe even in later Q4, right? We could be doing this kind of move where we hit resistance initially, come back and test off like the 21, in 3-4 weeks, and then proceed to face melt, right? Something like that. We're not going anywhere for a while if that happens, right? Ideally, we just put in a lower high here comparative to that, and then we start our move down towards early 2024. That's still the odds-on favorite, even if it does break out. And I'm not saying it does, right? We could be doing something like this, right? It could do something like this, absolutely. And then we'd be okay, right? Just preparing for all scenarios. Keep you updated.